All right, so for tomorrow's multi-species, obviously, I mean, if you haven't seen our videos already, kydex that we cut ourselves, and it's actually starting to come off a little bit. Sikaflex 291's holding that on there. We have the Garmin 56 GT transducer with the side imaging, down imaging. That's on with the Yak Hobby mount. I installed these. They're the smallest nav lights I could find, proper nav lights with the proper angles of that show the light. Navarre kayak handle in the front. To that we have Railblazer mount for camera, and I can plug in and be powering that camera all day from a plug, Yak power plug we have here. And inside here is just all of our wiring for that GT, well, the lights, the GT56, the whole 9 yards. That GT56 is wired up through the transducer scupper, backside of the motor mount, into the through hull, back to here, and then up into the 95 SVUHD plotter. Also to that we have mounted our live scope. The GLS 10 box is down inside the boat here, velcroed to one side on a plate of linear polyethylene. The 8-channel Yak power is through hull wired. That switch gear is down on this side of the inside the hull through the hatch here. We have, I think this is Yak Gear or Yak Hobby, I can't remember. Horizontal rod storage on my right side because I like to, I cast off the left of the boat, but it still gives me enough room that I can land fish. Yak Attack Sidewinder anchor rope storage system. The Scotty mount, that's the Scotty gear head with the extendable arm on there. I forget what plate it is, but that's holding my Garmin base, which the plotter's not in it right now, fish finder's not in it. Ooh, I gotta plug that. Don't want that getting all corroded. Back, and then of course all of my rails here are Pacific Yak Angler, and just a note, I am sponsored by them for everything we're doing. Pacific Yak Angler, I've replaced all the plastic ones, and that's giving me a very sturdy mounting position. And as I've said in the video about the Pacific Yak Angler rails, the bottom's plastic, and that gives some leverage. If it's not plastic, if you're buying rails that are completely aluminum and you leave them on in the wintertime, there's a very good chance that you're going to do damage because there is no give at all. So Pacific Yak Angler, they're half and half plastic, half aluminum, and that gives a little bit of, it allows for a little bit of movement when your kayak's going to shrink at a different rate than the aluminum rail. And I said in a previous video, we had another, not Old Town, but another brand that we used to sell where it actually split the hull. Probably won't do that here, but there is a possibility. And that you run into that too with these Yak Attack rails that I've added to the hull as well. You've got to be mindful of that. Well, we've also added on to the 8-channel Yak power system our deck lights. Plan is at some point, and they're running right now, I just don't have time, is to fish stripers in the St. John River at Reversing Falls. And that gives you some light at night that's not going to take your visual purple completely away. The red colors is the best for that. Off to the left is the remote for our power pole micro. Navarre kayak fishing handles, and I've got like lanyard mounts from Yak Attack on those handles. We've replaced the flush mount rod holders with Navarre's rod holder rail setup, so that's screwed in with the gasket on the bottom. To that I have the Scotty gear head and the R5 rod holder for trolling on this side. On this side, I went with the Yak. It's the Yak Attack Omega Pro, with the arm for trolling on that side, because these Scotty gear heads will unwind. If you're over here and you get torque, it'll unwind, whereas this thing won't unwind. Now my buddy Darren Moran, who's sponsored by Scotty, does have a solution if you wanted to go full Scotty. He does have a solution, like a different mount set up from Scotty, so that won't torque and unwind. So it is possible, but I mean, we sell both, so I'm kind of trying to support both. And I think it's Yak Gear. I don't remember. Yak Hobby Yak Gear. This is the bump board holder for our catch board that we use. And I mount that in the back so I can grab the catch board, the aluminum one, and pull it forward when I need it, and then I can store it out of the way. Back here, one of the handiest things that I've bought, and I know people have mixed feelings on them, but I'm telling you, from the fishing I've done so far, this has been astronomically amazing. It comes with replacement hardware for your bungee so that it locks it in, and then you can hold 6 rods or more if you want to add more to it, with lanyards on them, so if you capsize, you're not going to lose all your gear. And it holds the 3700 series tackle boxes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8 down there, 9 up here, and then some smaller ones. A lot of gear in there. I've got all the gear I own. All my tackle is in that. And then we put a Pelican cooler behind that for my lunch and for my live, just my worms and night crawlers. What else have we got? This is the other end of our horizontal rod holding stuff. More Pacific Yak Angler rails. So I've done all 4. And I've added on either side the Yak Attack, what are the HD 175 rails, the aluminum rails, just to add. Our live view transducer arm mount by fishfindermounts.com. That's on that rail, but I can put it on either side, and I've got backing plates on the bottom side of this as well. What else do we have? We've got the heading sensor puck mounted through hull here. Our power pole is hardwired to our 30 amp hour eco-worthy battery, which goes down inside. This actually is powered with the motor on the motor battery, which is 100 amp hour eco-worthy. They're both lithium iron phosphate, sorry. So the main motor and the micro power pole are powered off of that 100 amp hour that sits in the battery box that comes from Old Town. And then down inside of here, I mount the 30 amp hour down inside with all the switching gear and the GLS 10 and all that. Off to the left is basically a Railblazer gun mount. I'm using that to hold my net, just in an area where I can get at it really quick, but if I do capsize, it's not going to sink to the bottom. I am a Paddle Canada level 2 sea kayak instructor, and I will tell you, I don't care how confident you think you are in your ability to kayak, there's always going to be a time where you will capsize, and I don't care how good you are. And that is why all of my equipment is tethered. Right? We go out I teach in conditions. We go out in conditions. You always plan for the worst. You have a contingency for the very worst outcome, the worst possibility, and plan for that. If you plan that nothing's ever going to happen, then you are planning to fail. So that is why I tether everything. I have no illusions or delusions that I'm so good that it's never going to happen. So always plan accordingly for the worst case scenario. So that is why I have all these tethers. That is why there's reflective tape on my bow and stern. If I lose power, I capsize, I get in trouble. Part of where I want to fish is the Bay of Fundy, where I grew up and where I grew up fishing in saltwater, both commercially and recreationally. So plan to fail, and you're actually planning. So all right, that's just all my motor, seat. Oh, that's another thing. The right on the right side right here, right there is a scan strut through hull USB power supply. So that's going to my 30 amp hour battery as well. It's on its own channel that I can turn on and off. And it's watertight. So once I put my USB cable in there and close it, there's a bunch of glands that close in on the cable that make a waterproof seal. And that's the only thing that's going to get destroyed is the other side of my cable, but that's replaceable. So that's my power supply for my phone. We got to take pictures of our fish in the tournaments that we do. So I have a really nice, which I'll show you, RAM mount for my phone directly from RAM. I mean, people have asked where did I get it. I got it directly from RAM Mounts US, and just imported it myself here into Canada. Let's see if I can do this without losing my dog. There it is right there. So this is the on my seat off to my right. It just lifts up on a spring. Your phone goes in it, and then I'm plugged in on the bottom, and then I've got a lanyard off of that so that I can just quickly pull it off, use it, take pictures, and continue on. I don't have to worry about it falling in the water. This is pretty much my setup, and it's been working very well so far. Stuff's not in the way. I've actually taken some stuff off of it to minimize gear stuff in the way. I like the deck in front of me to be clean so that I can work on fish when I land them, and have my bump board, kind of on just my side of those, or the other side of the trolling rod holder mounts, kind of between the R5 and the screen. I'll put my bump board there, set it down, take a picture. I'll show you the bump board too. I know I've already showed it once, but I tried to go a little bit bigger for, we're going to be doing at some point the possibility of muskies and some larger species. So I went with a little bit larger board, but not large enough for sturgeon. All right, so that's the catch. I forget what model. Let me see if it says it somewhere. I don't think it does. Anyway, it's catch bump board, 32 inches marked. And then there's the tournament ID holder there as well. So I get an ID number just before the tournament starts, and that has to be in the picture as well, which is the same as most kayak fishing tournaments, the same MO. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, yeah, give us a shout. But this setup has worked very well so far. So we'll see how it works tomorrow.